Thank you for coming out. God, after the 2 years we've had, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see you all here. Isn't it? Audiences return to theatres. Fans are in the football stadium. The Taliban are back. It's nice, isn't it? We've taken our face coverings off. The women over there putting theirs back on. It's not feminist. It's good during a pandemic, though, isn't it? Nothing's getting through there. Fair play. Only thing better than washing your hands, just chop them off. Chop them off. Cut out the middleman. You can't catch bugs with stumps. Okay. Oh, okay. Hard in. I've gone hard in. That's quite a strong start. I apologise. Excited, man. Been cooped up inside for 2 years. Nice to see a lot of young people here, you know, itching, and then fair play, sir. The other end of the spectrum, you look like you were vaccinated quite early on. You don't mind me saying? I want to say late Feb. Am I right? I am. Yeah, I got good at it. I've got good at it. How many you had now? 3, 4, 5 of the fuckers? Your little vaccine cards like a Cafe Nero loyalty thing. There you go. See you next week, huh? 10th one's free, remember that? Joshin, thank you so much for coming out. And in all seriousness, all the best for the coming winter. But look, I'm 31, so, you know, it's not, you're not dying during the pandemic broadly, but it's tough, you know, you cancel your exciting plans, stay at home to protect the elderly, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Problem is, you stay at home, you've got a lot of time to think. You start thinking, well, who are the elderly? I mean, who are these people we're protecting, you know? Start Googling house prices, you think, maybe we can afford to lose a few. You know, the more you read about it, the more angry you get. This is a generation went to university for free. Suckers like me paid $9,000. Oh, you stop feeling so fucking generous, don't you, young people? Oh, I get urges. Oh, there were urges. Well, times during the lockdown where I want to hop in the car, start driving around care homes, start coughing through letterboxes. But when are young people going to get anything back, you know? This whole economic system is weighted towards the elderly. Has been for decades. Then to top it off, these people get the vaccines first. Are you kidding me? Yes, you're more likely to die, but I'm more likely to leave the house. Jab me up! Worst bit of the pandemic, January, when the vaccine started. Hated it. I was at home, turned on the TV, there'd be a big news reporter outside a vaccine centre with a big old fluffy mic going up to old people. Oh, you've just had the jab. What are you going to do now? Oh, it's great. I'm going to get on with my life. What life? You're 96! You don't have a life. You have a chair. That's all you have. Big fucking chair. You're not going interrailing, Pam, are you? You're not going clubbing in Berlin? No. Here's what you got on. You're going to sit in your chair for 2 weeks watching quiz shows, then your neighbour's going to find you with your cat eating your face. That's all you've got on! My grandmother is 95. She was double jabbed by April. Why? Waste of resources. Why? She leaves the house for 20 minutes. She comes back. She's got a bruise from the wind. They've saved her life. They've not saved her life. They've given her, at best, 6 more months of bargain hunt. That's it. It's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm clapping for the NHS. I'm clapping for doctors. Just the doctor I'm clapping for is Harold Shipman. Now, Now he was the right man at the wrong time. You understand? If we had let him quietly get on with his work, the statistics would look a lot better, would they not? I got a little hand-drawn painting of a rainbow in the back of my car. Thank you, Harold, thank you. You're the best of us shippers. I think you had it really rough if you were single, I think. It's a long time to be on your own. I'm lucky in that respect. I got married at the end of 2019. Got married to a woman. Old school. Okay, pretty traditional fella. Do things the old-fashioned way. People make judgments about you when you get married young. They want to know how traditional you are. Oh, where was it, like a white wedding? I was like, yeah, mainly. Although my friend Phil's Chinese, he was there. But we both grew up in the countryside. It was a mainly Caucasian event, but we didn't get married in a church. We got married in a barn, lovely barn. Made more sense for us as a couple because we're not religious and my wife's a hog. Am I right? No, just a joke. Just a joke. She's beautiful in her own way, and I like it. The apple in the mouth. I think it looks good. Striking bride. Lift the veil up. Her father rotated her down the aisle there, but listen. I didn't really engage in the planning of the wedding. I don't think men really do too much as a generalisation. I think you know, what are you really saying when you propose? You're not thinking about the day so much as the rest of it. You know, what are you really saying? You get down on one knee, you give her this ring, and you say, "Listen, when you die, I would like all of your stuff because she works in advertising. She's got some nice stuff, and I want it." But apparently, obviously, women are apparently much more concerned with the intricacies of the day itself. I read this thing. Apparently, the average woman has been planning her wedding day since she was 10 years old. Now, my wife was a bit more chilled out than that, mainly because, well, she's 9. Oh, she wanted Prince Charming. She got Prince Andrew. Okay, now, here, hold on. We're getting going. She's great, my wife. She's a type 1 diabetic, which is a serious disease. It's also quite a funny one. You don't know, she has to inject insulin every time she eats. And before she does that, she has to do this maths to work out how much insulin she needs. And sometimes she gets the maths wrong, has to eat something in a panic later. So it's the only relationship I've been in where sometimes we have to stop having sex so that she can run into the kitchen to reheat mash. You know, it's quite It's quite hard to have a quickie with a diabetic, you know, it's spontaneous. You're on the sofa, the mood strikes, you want to get down to it there and then, but obviously you've got to give the old girl time to carb load, you know. By the time she's finished, you know, the moment's gone, and you're out with bread. So, pop your trousers on and go to the shops. No, you want to marry someone who makes you a better person. That's what my wife does. I really wanted to get in shape for the big day, get in shape. So I was going to the gym a lot. And I remember a week before the wedding, I got chatting to this guy in the steam room of my gym who had this amazing life, right? He said he was married to a woman in Australia for 16 years, but then he realised that he was gay, and he told his wife, who let him go in this beautiful moment of tolerance, acceptance, and now he lives as a gay man in the UK. And I was like, well, that's a great story, but quite selfishly, I'm getting married in a week. Quick question. You didn't know you were gay for 16 years. He's like, yeah, I didn't know at the time, but it makes sense now that I was. And I'm like, yeah, it's great and all, but I'm about to buy 130 people dinner. I mean, that's an expensive mistake, you know. I want to know. You didn't know for 16 years? He's like, yeah, I didn't know at the time, but it makes sense now that I totally was. Amazing, isn't it? 16 years of sort of tricks that the mind can play. Anyway, so I'm blowing this guy in the steam room, right? And I'm trying to work out why my eyes are watering, you know, just the old soil, it's hard to tell. And I'll let him finish because it's Pride Month, you know, you've got to support minorities, and well, that's how they get you. But the real reason I was excited to get married was that as a comedian, now I've been doing comedy for sort of 12 years, and what little name I have is based around doing big issues, cultural, social commentary, but increasingly it's a febrile atmosphere, subject to op-eds in newspapers. What can't they say? Should comedians only joke about things they've experienced? And, well, I was just excited to get a wife, and she's my wife. I'll say whatever the fuck I want, and you can just deal with it, you know? So I thought as a loving tribute, I'd base the show around the old growler. Last lockdown, the wife and I decided to try for a baby because there was nothing else to do. And by that point, I think we both just wanted someone else to talk to. And listen, look, I like a bit of rough and tumble as much as the next man, but trying for a baby is too much fucking. I never want to have sex again. Chop it off, I'm done. You've got to do it every night when you're trying, for months. And let me tell you, supply could not keep up with demand. You understand? I was squeezed dry like the husk of a lemon, nothing left. I was coming pith by night 4. You understand? You know what I'm talking about, old boy. Now, I feel your pain. People here might think I'm boasting. I'm not boasting. It's not sex. It's procreation. That's a different thing. Newer couples in here might have sex where you light some candles, have a bit of wine, take some time to set the atmosphere, create the mood. This is how my wife and I would start our procreation sessions. First things first, she'd check the spreadsheet, make sure she's ovulating. Lord knows we wouldn't want to fuck on a whim. Then she'd shove a thermometer up herself like a big old Christmas goose. And finally, she'd lean over and whisper something romantic into my ear, like, I can't even be bothered to try and come, just fire a load off and let's go to sleep. Now, straight men in the audience, you'll understand my problem. My entire sexual career has been based on the concept of holding back your own pleasure, give the poor girl a chance, right? I mean, that's very much all of our tactic, really, isn't it, lads? Doesn't matter how slick you think you're being, like, oh, you like that? Who's your daddy? Oh, I've got to move. Inwardly, we're all going, nah, hold. Name every cabinet minister. We like to do little quizzes, little lateral thinking puzzles to distract ourselves in the heat of the moment. But when you're procreating, the pressure's not on not coming, the pressure's on coming. It's the only reason you're fucking. It's like a heist. You've got to get in, get out. But the pressure got too much. I couldn't finish. And so it just went on for hours, back, forth. It was like Nadal, Federer. You know, fuck, when's it going to end? Sand coming out there. Rim. God, it was so much fucking. At one point, my wife was like, look, I know it's been a lot of sex for you recently, so why don't I start tonight off with a blowjob? And I genuinely replied, can't we just read? The noise I make now when I do eventually climax, holy mackerel, it's bleak. I swear it used to be excitement, adrenaline, kind of vigour, but now, you know the noise that maybe your elderly relatives would make when they've eaten their Sunday dinner a bit too quickly, and they make this weird kind of internal burp noise that gets caught in the throat? You know, they kind of, that's the noise I make now. Love you, okay. I'm just going to go to the petrol station, get some Gaviscon. See you later. Friends say you've got to spice things up, and they're right, of course. That's what you do when your sexual relationship goes stale. The problem is, we were trying to conceive. And I was like, well, what if we get all kinky, but then we end up making a baby, you know? I mean, I got to look this kid in the eye. I don't want to stoop to such depths that I can't look a little 3-year-old girl in the face when she asks me where babies come from, you know? Oh, you want to know? All right, pull up a pew. I'll tell you the story of the birds and the bees. When a man and a woman love each other very much, they get bored quite quickly. So begins an arms race of filth. It's a race to the gutter. There are no winners. And Well, like any drug, your tolerance just builds up over time, so you've got to keep pushing yourself further and further to reach the same level. Anyway, long story short, your mother put my balls in a clamp, took a shit on my chest, and 9 months later... You see that hook in your nursery where the mobile comes down with all the fluffy... Well, that's where your mother would hang me up like a halal goat, and I'd be spinning there like this, and she'd be shoving a rubber fist up my arse, and we're about a month away from IVF at this point, but she kept plugging away, and... Well, that's why you're called Peggy, of course, because it was her. You understand that one, old boy? You've lived. You've lived. Hard to spice things up, given the circumstances, wasn't it? Suggested we do a bit of role playing, asked my wife to dress up as a sexy nurse, but the pandemic's ruined that. The amount of PPE she was wearing. It's like trying to fuck a beekeeper, you know? Put more clothes on. The other problem is that, like everyone in lockdown, we've got a dog, right? And the dog is not trained, the dog does not sleep on the dog bed. No, the dog sleeps on the human bed. Does the dog sleep at the end of the bed? No! Somehow we've ended up with a dog that sleeps on the fucking pillow, right? So I've got to have sex with a dog's face staring at me. Imagine, it's hard enough to come as it is. There's a dog there sniffing, always sniffing. Imagine trying to have sex with a dog's face just there. And I know what you're thinking, why'd you marry her? But, hey, it's my wife, God damn it, I'll say what I like. Don't get me wrong, I like my wife. I love that dog. I love that dog. When you're middle class, as I am, and you get a dog, you get asked these questions. People, your middle class friends, go, "You got a dog? Oh, that's lovely. That's a good thing, isn't it? Is it a rescue? Presumably you didn't even pay for a puppy. It's a rescue. Is it a rescue? You're a rescue dog? No, I've got money, and I want a pet. I don't want a fucking Vietnam veteran in my house. I want to throw him the ball and have him bring him back, not think it's a fucking grenade. Can't walk him through the long grass, keeps having flashbacks to Da Nang or whatever. Want to come home and he's jumping up, pleased to see me, wagging his tail. You don't just come home to a silent flat. Oh, where's the dog? It's just in the living room in an armchair with the blinds drawn, drinking scotch. We lost a lot of good boys that day. But eventually, after months of fucking, the wife, this is, not the dog. Although she was there, the dog was there. In my eye line. And after months chipping away at the coalface, we did eventually conceive. I impregnated the fortress. An achievement which I think should at least count towards my Duke of Edinburgh award. It's a badge or something, but I tell you, having a pregnant wife changes the dynamic of the marriage, because your job as a husband is to support the wife. And before this, maybe she'd have a day where she woke up low self-esteem, she'd wake up, look in the mirror and go, "Oh, worried I look fat today," and I'd go, "I hadn't noticed that, I think you look beautiful." You know, job is to support the wife. But then she became pregnant. She started comparing herself to her friends who were also pregnant, and a few months ago she called me in and she said, "Finn, come and look at me, I'm worried I'm not fat enough." Oh, curveball. That's what I call a lose-lose situation. Hey, fellas. It's a cunning female trap. How am I meant to answer that question? I'm worried I'm not fat enough. Nah, look at you, you're a fucking disgrace. What are you talking about? We had to cut you out of your shoes this morning, do you know what I mean? We broke the kitchen scissors, you don't remember that? I like it, having a big old wife. I enjoy it. think bigger people are sexier. I also think a lot of people think this, straight men in particular. We just don't admit it because of the body image culture we get hit around the face with. But I think bigger people are way sexier. Yeah. Like as a straight man, which is the only perspective I can offer. Think about the bits that you get asked whether you like. You get asked whether you're a boob guy or a bum guy, yeah? No one goes, yeah, I like ribs. I'm a rib guy. I like the knees and the knuckles and the elbows. Let me come on your patella. No one's saying that. Come on, baby, I want to fuck your femur. That's no one's thing. But also, I just think spiritually, when you see a bigger person, what does their body shape tell you about them as a soul? Well, for one, it tells you they're spontaneous, doesn't it? They clearly don't stick to plans. That's sexy, though. That's what you want. Unpredictability. You're on a date with this person, you're going to the museum, you walk past a bakery, donuts, 2 for 1, fuck the museum. That's what you want! Oh, we're doing this, I like it. Where's it going? Because the opposite of that is vegans. That's the last thing you want on a date. Fucking structure, rules, bureaucracy, right from the menu. You order the steak, the questions start. Did you know that was a living thing? Well, you just killed my erection. Is that vegan? That was a living thing with hopes and dreams, and you slaughtered it just then when you said that, actually. Filthy hippies, I'll be having none of that. Only so freaky you can get with a vegan in the bedroom. You can't lick whipped cream off them because of the dairy. I can't say I'm that excited with the idea of licking soy off someone's tits. Want to come back to mine and eat whipped oat cream off me? No, thank you. I'll stay outside and wank, but thank you, though. It's a lovely thought. I think it's a good time to be fat, politically. I do. I was fat in the early noughties. We got no respect, man. But now, body positive role models. Lizzo, We had no body positive role models. In the early noughties, we just had Mr. Blobby, Michelle McManus. That was it. But now, body positive. The language has changed. It's becoming more politically correct. Soon, you won't even be able to call a fat person fat. Soon, we'll have to start calling them people of blubber. That's the way it's going. They're going to form a community, I know it. They're going to form a community, all the little splinter groups. Like the LGBTs, they're going to have the fat people, they're the F. Chubby people, they're the C. And then people who were fat when they were kids, like me, we're the K, Come together. KFC community. That's what it's going to be like. Because everyone wants to be like the gays nowadays. Everyone wants a group. Easier to have a group. Yeah. Everyone wants to be in a group. Even the straights want to have a group. There was a serious movement a few months ago to start straight pride. Imagine what that would have looked like, London. Oxford Circus full of people in hiking gear. Waving the straight pride flag, which I presume is just 7 different shades of beige. All the straight pride chants. Anal is for special occasions, Weekend! Stop devaluing it with this weeknight anal. Dildos will not replace us, or I don't know, but... Everyone wants to be in a group, safer in a group, You've got the liberals on your side. You have more cultural cachet in a group, but you've got power when you're in a group. But then sometimes 2 groups start fighting each other, and I've got to say I quite enjoy that. More for my very progressive right-on friends, because they sort of, oh God, Like if it's a bit before COVID, but there was this big Barney in Birmingham a while ago, where there was this primary school wanted to teach the kids about gay relationships. And a lot of the parents of the kids were quite conservative, religious Muslims. They didn't want that. And so there was these protests, weren't there, outside the school? Gays on one side, Muslims on the other, shouting at each other. And all you had to do when you were talking about this to my right-on friends was go, hey, who's right? Oh no, please, no, don't make me choose. I'm going to look bad either way. No, Muslims, gays. Why can't you sort this out yourselves? Okay, Okay, who do I not want to piss off? Muslims win. I mean, the gays don't rise like that, do they? Who would you rather be kidnapped by, ISIS or Queer Eye? That's a simple question. You spend 5 days with the fellas from Queer Eye, you just leave feeling really confident, like, oh, yeah, I will ask her out, actually, thanks. I've been holding myself back all this time. I don't know how you did it. You find out you're having a baby, you've got decisions to make. First one is, do you want to find out the sex? We decided we did want to find out the sex. Not because we wanted to, play along with these archaic gender stereotypes and paint the nursery pink or blue. We just wanted to know if we're having a girl. Obviously, we'll have to keep trying till my wife bequeaths me a male heir. Nothing outdated. But then you've got to decide, increasingly for our generation, whether you want to throw a gender reveal party. Now, yeah, it seems more of an American thing. Well, you've heard of these things. It's insane. Americans are going to the 20-week scan and going, right, everyone, to the ammunition store, to family, meet me at the nearest quarry. I have an announcement to make. My baby's got a dick. People have died. It's insane. People are dying. I mean, when we found out, we just sent a WhatsApp message, just with a WhatsApp group message, I don't know, maybe it would have made more of a fuss if we were having a boy. But, joke! He's a joke show. Obviously I'm joking. You want a girl? Boys are done, man. Fuck them. They're all creeps. You don't want a boy creeping everyone out. Mama. Get that kid away from that woman. It's a walking hashtag, for Christ's sake. You can't do that anymore, you know what I mean? Hey! I don't care if you're hungry, cut it out! It's optimistic raising girls now, isn't it? It's all about empowerment, You say to them, you can do whatever you want to do when you are older. And you mean it! Best time to raise a girl in history. You can be whatever you want to be. More complicated raising boys. You say, hey, listen, son, I want you to respect women, learn about consent, but also here's a phone with every porn video ever made. Good luck, I trust you. I trust you to make the right decision. No, you can use it to send a dick pic to everyone you know. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough for both, I think. It's tough for both young people nowadays. The phones aren't making it easier. You're already hopped up on hormones, All this Me Too stuff is tough for the young people, I think, on both sexes. It's tough for young boys, hopped up on hormones. It's hard for a young man to know if a woman is genuinely flirting with him or she's just polite. That's quite a hard line for a young man, isn't it? You go, does she want to have sex with me or is she just fulfilling her duties as a vicar? Dare I make a move in God's house? But obviously, much harder for women. Of course it is. Very hard for a woman to know if a man is a sex pest or he is just Mediterranean. Very handsy people. It's a fine margin. Hey, it's a me too. You've got to be careful. Some cultures, I'm just saying. The ugly truth is that, everyone, as individuals, has got different boundaries. Hard to draw them along complete gender lines, isn't it? And quite often, you won't know what your boundaries are in a bedroom until someone pushes them, and then you either have new boundaries or they snap back to where they were. I'm aware it's been quite a classy evening so far. I don't want to lower the tone, but the first time I was rimmed, the first time I was rimmed, she was Scottish, obviously. That's no coincidence, is it? Godless, filthy people. I mean, it makes sense. If you start the day with fried haggis, an arsehole's a fucking palate cleanser. Probably the healthiest thing she'd eaten all day, So acute is the health crisis in parts of Fife that a rectum of iron was close thing to a Barocco he'd ever seen. But listen, enough of this. My point is, and there is a point, I didn't know I liked that until she just started doing it. I was like, oh, and then my boundaries changed, so much so that for a good couple of years there, rimming was like the bare minimum, the first base rimming for me. Do you know what I mean? I'd go on a date with a girl, she'd go for a kiss goodnight, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, Your Majesty. You know. Rude. Question we got asked the most, actually, by people was, where are you going to have the baby? And I was like, well, that's pretty straightforward, probably the hospital, route 1. And then there were people like, no, it's so medical. Bright lights and bleepy, no. You want to have it at home. You want to have a natural, it's a beautiful moment of nature. You want to do it in the comfort of your own home. And my wife was seduced by this for a minute. She thought about having a home birth. And I was like, really? A home? Where in our home do you propose to do such a thing? She said, I don't know, the sofa? The sofa! We don't even let the dog on the sofa. And you're going to turn yourself inside out on it. That's your plan? Hey, while we're at it, why don't we get a wood chipper in, put a bag of lamb kidneys in, let it rip in the hallway? What the fuck? Listen, live your own life, but if you have a home birth, when people come around to visit, you will have lost all authority to ask them to take their shoes off, right? Take my shoes. There's placenta on your floor. I'm putting wellies on. Fuck this. It's like the Manson Ranch in here. But there's this kind of anti-medicine, anti-science thing bubbling away amongst educated people. We've seen it, haven't we, this year with the anti-vaxxers. Obviously, it's not a new thing. The sort of movement started in earnest about 20 years ago, and there was this one wackadoo doc who said that the measles vaccine caused autism. And it doesn't. That's a complete myth. Complete conspiracy. But I was thinking, even if the measles vaccine did cause autism, like as a disease, autism is way better than measles. You should just let your kid get that, you know? No? Disagree? Pick a disease, autism or measles. Autism, of course! Well, of course! My cousin's got autism. You know what's wrong with him? He likes planes. That's it! That's it! I mean, don't get me wrong, he fucking likes planes. Like, if you don't like planes, you're not going to get a word in with him, really. It's all he talks about. Planes, aviation, travel. But that's it. And still, people are like, oh, the kid gets autism, they'll struggle to make friends. I don't remember the kids at school with measles drowning in mates. You want to play hide and seek? No, I was going to scratch. Okay, see you later. There you go. Obviously, it's still difficult. I'm just saying it's better, you know. You've got to invest a lot of energy in that child, make them feel emotionally secure. But eventually, in the long run, teach him to count cards, move to Vegas, make some money out of the fucker. I'm just saying, there's pros. You can't make money out of measles. God knows I've tried. Live a normal life with autism. Don't know why it's seen as such a stigma. You know? Greta Thunberg's got autism. Yeah. And that's not even the reason she's annoying. She is fucking annoying, isn't she? Like, doesn't matter how correct you are about blah, blah. You're 17, wind your neck in. It's irritating, isn't it? Doesn't matter how correct you are, being told how to live by 17. What are you doing? You're a teenager, what are you doing? Get drunk, get fingered. Why are you talking to us? As a rule, I don't take any life advice from someone who's not been digitised. You know what I mean? Male or female, before you start. Just telling people to make these huge lifestyle changes. Stop driving, start taking a train. Well, of course you think that. You're Swedish. Your trains probably work. I mean, if Greta Thunberg had to travel with Southern Rail, she'd be like, all right, some car journeys are necessary. This franchise is completely fucked. Telling people to stop flying, start sailing? Really? Lads, next time you're off to Magaluf, all aboard! But then of course she thinks that. She was born in 2004. She's clearly never seen Titanic. It's why. It's why she wants to save the icebergs. I say, fuck them, let them all melt. Caused nothing but trouble, ruined a beautiful romance. She wants to clean up the rubbish in the ocean. But if it wasn't for that old door, Rose wouldn't have lived. It's complex. Don't get me wrong, I hate climate change. I hated climate change before it was cool, yeah? Back in the old days, single days, when I was a young buck about town, maybe I'd get lucky of an evening, go back to a lady's house and she'd be getting freaky and she'd say, hey, you put a condom on? I'd be like, absolutely not. It's a single-use plastic. How dare you? Don't you care about the Amazon? I'm going to pull out and come your tits. It's the only way. I fuck green, baby. Listen, I don't want to see some turtle tomorrow with a condom, and it's not in my name. I care about my carbon dick print. All right, listen. I'm raw dogging for Greta. Who's with me? That's my new movement. I'm selling wristbands after the show. Raw dogging for Greta. We're going to sit on the M3 tomorrow. I think we'll get a good response from the truck drivers. I think we will. I don't think we should be entirely fatalistic about it. Obviously, we should probably try and do something, but at the heart of the climate change movement, especially its extremes, it does seem to be a denial of something very essentially human, you know? And I don't know how much freedom we should curtail to save a planet that's as mortal as us, you know? No matter how many bamboo straws we use, at some point the sun's going to explode. Comedy. My point, but you can't air an opinion like that because you go, oh, you're anti, you're denier. Because the only stances you can hold now, you're pro, you're anti. That's it, on every issue. So fucking boring, innit? Got to pick a side, pro, anti. Don't know when it started. Probably Brexit. It feels like it was Brexit, you know. And because some of us have got quite nuanced takes on Brexit, as it happens, yeah? I, for one, think the whole thing would have been avoided if Eastern European food was any good. That's my take. It's not good stuff, is it? Bad vibes. And because we got called anti-immigrant in the wake of the referendum, and of course there was unseemly elements. I think it's not fair. I think as a country broadly, we love, welcome and cherish immigrants if we like the food. That's sort of always been the rule, hasn't it, with British people? Because before immigration, this country was fucked in the kitchen. I mean, you remember the 50s, oh boy, God bless you. I mean, what was that? Mince, rhubarb, an onion if it's your birthday, that's it. Your first 10 birthdays, just cutting into an onion, candle in it, it's bleak. Then immigration begins in earnest. The Irish come over, and we're like, well, hang on, we've already got potatoes, so what are you bringing to the table? Have you tried Guinness? Fair play, in you come. What is it? What is it? Is it Marmite? Is it milk? I love it. Don't know what it is, love it. Then people from India came, introduced the British to flavour. The concept of flavour. Spice that's not black pepper. Incredible! And it continues, doesn't it? You know, Southeast Asia, Far East, West Africa, the Caribbean. All of them come in a rest now in this beautiful melting pot culture where we go out, we get pissed, and we eat food that's not from here. But none of you go out for Polish, do you? You don't fucking, it's not on the list. You're not hungover tomorrow, I can't be asked to cook, let's get a takeaway. Yeah, what should we get? Indian, Chinese, Mexican, Thai, Turkish, Vietnamese, pizza, pasta? Nah, man, tell you what, I could murder a fucking borscht. You know that purple soup that tastes like wet earth? And it looks like when you get blood in your stool? Yeah, that's what I'd like. Ideally with some black bread that's hard enough to build a fucking house out of. Some 8% lager, because I'm homeless apparently. That's what I'd like. Set on the stomach. It's not a date night food, is it? You want to go on a date, you probably go Italian, you know, Spanish, tapas. I mean, yeah, it's light, it's sex. You're not taking a woman to an Eastern European place, you're mental. Hey, you want to go out for dinner with me? Yeah. You got anywhere in mind? Well, let me ask you this. Do you like cabbage? I know this cute little Moldovan joint. It's just open. Set menu, 4 courses. Every one of them is just cabbage. But in between each course, they give you a shot of pure vodka. Apparently, it's so that you can forget what you just fucking ate. Really clever, cleanses the palate and the mind. It's just so tiring, isn't it? Every issue gets churned through this news cycle. Pro, anti, huge things like transgender rights, massive thing. You go, you're pro-trans, or you're anti-trans. You're like, well, hang on. There's loads going on. There's toilets and then there's sport. That's two entirely different things, isn't it? Toilets, I think, well, piss where you want, because we all do it, don't we? I frequently identify as disabled. Wherever, fucking stretch, wherever. And people say, oh, what's to stop a sexual predator walking into a woman's bathroom? And you go, well, nothing. But that's true now, isn't it? I don't want to bum you out, but the only thing stopping that now is there's a little thing on the door saying that toilet's for women, But this person's a sexual predator, aren't they? I don't know anyone whose moral code would allow them to sexually attack someone and yet forbid them from disobeying door signs. I feel like if you've got no problem with one, you'll have a little truck with the other, I'm going to have my way with a woman I find and sneak past the receptionist of the gym, down the corridors, past... Oh, for Pete's sake, it's a woman's bathroom! Fuck, I can't go in there! Sure, I may be a rapist, but I'm no trespasser. I'll wait here like the gentleman I am. But that's toilets, that's one thing. Then you've got sport, entirely different thing. I think you can think that on toilet and still think it's a bit fucking weird. Turn on the TV, see a trans woman competing in a women's weightlifting, It's strange. Like, I'm shit at football, terrible at football, right? But if I identify as under 9, my bedroom would be filled with tiny trophies. And that's why it's been nice in a weird way the last couple of years, because there's been one news story, hasn't there? There's been a bit of that, there's been less of it broadly, all of us have sort of the same opinion. I'm not talking about COVID, I mean Prince Andrew. He has had what I like to call a big year, has he not? I think Prince Andrew would have liked COVID, I think. I think New Year's Eve 2019, he's sort of thinking, I really hope something big happens. Global, historic. Just takes the edge off that interview I just did where I said I didn't fuck that 16-year-old because I went to Pizza Express. What? You can do both. Am I right? Anyway, look, just because you can does not mean that you should. But, funny though, isn't it? Because he basically, if you're that rich, you sort of avoid justice. So what you try and do is try and win the PR war. So he's like, I'm going to go in front of the British public and dismiss these allegations for the hogwash they are. They're going to believe me, as I'm a reasonable man. And we as a nation went, no, I think you did it. You got a weird neck, I think you did it. And I think the reason we think he did it, aside from the evidence, is that he hadn't done enough stuff beforehand for us to like him that much as a public figure. He had no credit in the bank, did he? There was nothing messing with our judgment. Because you think about it, with Michael Jackson, there were 4 documentaries, and still people are like, well, Thriller's good, isn't it? Like, how many Grammys have these kids won? Music's too good. R. Kelly, he's in jail now. The worst human that's ever lived. He's so bad that his victims were so many you could binge a box set. That's how bad he was. A box set, and still people are singing Ignition. It's too catchy. That's the problem. Music's too good, you get away with it. Because think about it. When they came for Rolf Harris, we were like, yeah, send him down. Fine, actually. Well, I can't play the wobble board anymore. Who gives a fuck? And then we were like, can you take Cliff Richard as well? Completely innocent. No, just take him, please. Please. He's weird. Please, just take him. Poor Cliff Richard. His music was so bad, we hoped he was a paedophile. That's how... I didn't even think that was the worst royal interview, though. For me, that was the Harry and Meghan one. Fuck. Yeah, Oprah. Supposedly the best interviewer in the world, Oprah Winfrey. For 2 hours, doesn't think to mention that his uncle's a nonce. Doesn't mention it. The big scoop, the royal family are racist. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. His uncle's a nonce! I found the whole thing very tasteless, got to be honest. You know, Prince Harry complaining about how much money he's got left during a pandemic when many of us lost our jobs, you know. You go, oh, I walked away from it all. The only thing I've got left is the money that my mother gave me. Did you know that when Diana died, she left Prince Harry £20 million? Alone! When Diana died, she left Prince Harry alone £20 million. When I heard that, I was like, fucking hell, I need to change my car insurance. Like... what kind of policy was she on? That she wrote off a car abroad and still... I need to call the Admiral in the morning. I've only got fire and theft. Fuck me, I'm being robbed blind. It pays to shop around. That's her legacy, I think. That's her legacy. Shop around. There's deals to be had. But I find it fascinating how you can, like, dance to music, like, even though you know the person that made it is guilty of egregious stuff, you know. But it's funny, it's a visceral thing, music, and all this stuff's in the head, but I'm interested in it because it doesn't exist with comedy, you know. There's no such thing as, like, you can't, if someone's done something that you don't like, you fucking won't laugh at them. Not just that, if they make a joke that interrupts your particular little fucking worldview, you go mad. You go, I don't laugh at anything he says. Yeah. Mental, isn't it, the difference? Like, I did Have I Got News For You in lockdown, and, I may have said a joke about a former Labour leader, I won't name him for my own security reasons, but, wow, those people go in hard. And, you know, death threats, my agent got rape threats, there was a bomb threat at the fucking production company, it's insane, all over a joke, you know. It was during lockdown, so I couldn't really get out of my head, and I was just reading this shit coming through, and I went to the park one day, walking the dog, and bumped into a guy I know who's also got a dog, and the dogs have mates, so they're playing away, and we're standing by the duck pond, you know, and he said this amazing thing. I told him what was happening, and he said, well, what's happened, right? The reason this has happened is that comedians have started trying to make political points to make up for the fact that everybody jokes as a way to sell tickets, at the same time as politicians who don't fucking are trusted by anyone, they're trying to make jokes as a way of winning votes, and everyone's got all confused about who can say what, you know? Like he said, I'm a gay guy, I don't give a shit what a comedian says, because nothing they say means anything, everything they say is for a laugh. When a politician does it, they have a duty to represent people, they don't get the same privilege. Amazing, isn't it? Fucking bumped into him, just the most profound fucking thing I've ever heard. Anyway. So I'm blowing this guy by the duck pond, right? And as he releases the load, I think, hang on a minute, I know you. And well, that's how they get you again, you know. Don't let them tell you lightning can't strike twice. Stupid joke, isn't it? That's why we're here. I have this feeling that, you know, if that's the way we're going as a culture where you only want comics to speak within the confines of their identity. What, do you want to go back to the old ways? Where everyone was just a white guy with a big belly talking shit about his wife? Is that what you want? So I got it in spades. Fuck me. It's an endless source of material. Because things escalated with the pregnancy. Well, what I should say is we had a baby. We had the baby. 1st July, my wife gave birth to a beautiful little girl, born with a hairy back. Takes after her mother. And beautiful girl, my daughters are beautiful. All babies are beautiful, aren't they? But what I will say is that the beauty standards for babies are very low, aren't they? They're very low. I say again, my daughter is beautiful, but we've got to be realistic. You know, she's got 3 chins, she's balding, got a hairy back, and she wears her trousers up to here, you know. If anything, she looks like a fucking backbench MP, like, you know. I'm now in an NCT WhatsApp group with a bunch of people I've never met because the classes were held over Zoom. Oh, the mothers are sharing. Dads, we're hanging back, we're trying not to get involved, trying to keep our heads down, stay out of trouble, but I'm waking up to these messages, man, from the women. They're sharing their war stories, you know. seeping C-section scars, months of constipation, bleeding nipples. And then the other day, one of them just goes, hey, just wondering how all the dads are getting on. I'm not falling for that fucking trap. I'm not so tall I can't spot a trick fucking question, Sophia. Eh? How am I getting on? I'm so glad you asked. Well, firstly, was it you that said you had a 3rd-degree vaginal tear during your labour? And that's where you sort of knock a wall through as it is. You go all open plan, you know. Your bottom half just one big thing, like Daniela Westbrook's nose. You know, it's kind of... It's like the Schengen zone. Free movement is a beautiful thing. Is that what you'd like? Well, I know exactly how you feel. Last night, I only got 7 hours sleep. Oh. Good to know other people are struggling. Different burdens on the genders, isn't it, you know? Women one's very physical, brutal. That's why the gender pay gap was all so ridiculous when companies would try and justify it by saying, well, what if you go and have a baby and don't come back? What are you meant to do? You've got to take time off. Giving birth fucking ruins you. You can't just give birth Friday, be back at the office 9 a.m. Monday. How was your weekend, Jill? Heavy. Pretty heavy. My pussy and my arsehole are now the same. But I'd already taken all my annual leave, so I thought I'd come back in. I take it back, Jill. Please leave the building. I'm putting Colin off his lunch. Fucking Jill won't leave, you know. Don't get me wrong, it's still half the dance, it's different hard, you know. Like, I try and give my wife a break, but I haven't got the boob, you know, I haven't got the red button you can press to shut them up. And, you know, I'm not proud of this, but the other night, you know, my wife's in bed, I'm on shift as it is, and they say the hardest thing about parenthood is that you can't quit. And it's not true, you can. You shouldn't, but I did... she was crying, I just put her in the crib and went and sat in the car for an hour. Listen to 5 Live, beautiful. A lot of being a new dad is just looking for reasons to get out of the fucking house, I'll be honest. That's why I love that dog, man, fuck! She's my escape cord, you understand? Dog's gotta be walked every day. I'm taking the dog out, honey. All right, 4 hours later, where are you? We went to Wales. I just thought I'd give the dog a change of scene, maybe. We might make a night of it, stay over, I'll see how I feel. I got mates, they just had kids, they don't have a dog and they are scrabbling around for any fucking excuse. They're going through the store cupboard. Honey, I gotta go to the shops, we're out of star anise. See you later. Well, how am I meant to make a fucking rendang if I haven't got any star anise? You know on Google Maps, when it offers you a route that's 20 minutes slower? I never used to know who that was for, now I fucking do. Yeah. I'm listening for traffic updates. Junction 4, you say? Tailbacks. Okay, that's good. But the people in these WhatsApp groups, man, they don't know what we went through. You know, we went through a very particular thing. The baby was born 7 weeks premature, and everyone's fine now, but it's just different, you know, when you have a premature baby, it's just different. My wife couldn't have a vaginal delivery, she had to have an emergency C-section, you can't hold the baby straight away, they get taken up to a table, make sure they're fine, you know. You can't light a cigarette, you have to leave the hospital. You know, it's just... I had this image in my head of the 3 of us smoking as a family, but... Is it 38 weeks you can smoke in a baby's face? I don't know. Listen, I'm no doctor, but you can't do it with premature kids. They say you never forget the day your first child is born, and they're correct. But it's got nothing to do with the kid. I'll tell you what happened. About an hour after the operation, I've been having a little break, getting some air. I come back to the ward, and my wife sat up, she's had a C-section, she's all groggy, and there's a midwife there. And the midwife's like, okay, well, you know, it's a bit dicey, but everything's fine. The baby's in the neonatal unit, she's fine. Bit hairy, but, you know, she's fine. But she's born at 33 weeks, now that is early. It's too early to suckle the kind of Maggie Simpson She hasn't quite got that down yet, so we've got to feed her through a tube for the first couple of weeks. It sounds a big deal, but it's not. We do it all the time. But, however, we do need milk. Now, it's early for the mum, 33 weeks, hasn't quite got the milk production going, so it's too early to put a pump on her. So, what we like to do at this stage to make the dads feel involved is we give you a syringe, we ask you to get what you can and run it over to the kid. And I was like, fucking me? You want me? Is there not a member of staff here that's trained to know how to fucking milk someone? Is that not a... And she went to a very overstretched at the moment, and I was like, fucking hell, will the Brexit fallout never end? No one to pick the fruit, no one to drive the lorries, British taxpayers got to milk our own fucking wives? Surely this is a job for the Romanians, if ever there was one. Pavel, come back, there's wives to be milked. It's 2 months of hard work, you go home and feed your family for a year. Pavel, you'll be drowning in cabbage, please. You want a Romanian man, I don't want a fucking wise guy from Kent milking my old bird. I want a Romanian. They're used to it, the Romanians. They're brawny, you know. That was what it was like under communism. You go to the shops, empty shelves, come home. All right, Hilge, get in the sling. But we fucked it as a country. Tore off labour source, and so now British people got to step up. Do the jobs we don't want to do. So, I went home, got myself an upturned bucket, made myself a milking stool, went back to the hospital. Now, if this ever happens to you, right? You don't have kids, do you? No. If this ever happens to you, quick word of advice. You want to unlearn everything you think you know about boobs, all right? None of this tweaking, twirling, firm grip, yeah? Imagine you've just met your new girlfriend's father for the first time. Now, good evening, sir. That's the kind of energy you want to bring. Wide open stance, gravity's your friend, okay? I think I'm doing all right, yeah? About 10 minutes go past and the midwife's come back in and she's like, whoa, jeez, why is she on all fours? Hey! You don't know my wife, she bucks, she rears, you got to get her in a headlock. Whoa there, good girl, easy, hey there. You want to stay away from the back end, the methane coming out of there is unspeakable. Hey, whoa there, yeah, but why she got a bell around her neck? Listen! There's a lot of mothers in this unit, I don't want to milk the wrong fucking one. Good night, God bless, thank you. Stay safe. Good luck in the winter, I mean it. All right, good luck. I don't want you to see you here again. All right, thank you so much, good night.